Hare Krishna. We will continue our discussion on the light of Bhagavad. In our last class, we had discussed up till text 9, and today we are going to meditate upon text 10 of the light of Bhagavad. Just as a living being attains a transcendently attractive form by rendering service to Lord Hari, similarly, all the inhabitants of the lands and water assume beautiful forms by taking advantage of the newly fallen water. But we have practical experience with this, with our students in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Before becoming students, they were dirty looking, although they had naturally beautiful personal features. But due to having no information of Krishna consciousness, they appeared very dirty and wretched. Since they have taken to Krishna consciousness, their health has improved, and by following the rules and regulations, their bodily luster has increased. When they are dressed with saffron colored cloth, with tilak on their foreheads and beads in their hands and on their necks, they look exactly as if they come directly from Vaikuntha. The residents of the water are fish, frogs, and so on, and the residents of the land are the cows, deer, and so on. By constantly drinking and taking bath in the fresh rainwater of the rainy season, the tired and parched animals are refreshed, and their complexions become brilliant as their health is invigorated by the arrival of the new rainwater. The lakes, ponds, and rivers are cleansed and invigorated by the downpour of rainwater, and thus become most beautiful. Similarly, a devotee of the Supreme Lord who takes advantage of the beautiful and invigorating downpour of the transcendental descriptions of God found in the Vedic literature finds his spiritual consciousness invigorated and refreshed. In this way, the spiritualized body becomes very beautiful. The acharyas have exemplifies this fact that as a devotee advances in spiritual life, the devotee becomes more and more beautiful. There is effulgence, there is radiance, there is brightness, there is enthusiasm, there is that vigor. All one's senses get enlivened. Just like the other day we were reading the section of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj explains how simply by taking darshan of the Lord, simply by the touch of the counsel of the Supreme Lord, he's saying, "Oh Lord, all my senses have become enlightened. All my senses have become enlightened." What is the consequence of that? Immediately, all the craziness, all the haziness vanishes. Immediately. Oceanic divine knowledge dawns. And thus Dhruva Maharaj, who was an illiterate little small boy, not able to speak much also, eloquently, started glorifying the Supreme Lord with such uttama shloka, eloquent words, choicest words, which are perfect in meter and composition, and filled with that oceanic bhakti. So this is what happens. This is the enlivening that Dhruva Maharaj is speaking about. It comes in fourth canto. So this is Dhruva Maharaj comes home. Chapter is see text 6. यो अन्तः प्रविश्य मम वचाम् इमं प्रसुप्ता सञ्जीवयति अखिलशक्तिधर स्वधाम् अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणाश्रवणात्वगादि प्राणन्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्. So Maharaj is saying, my dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, my legs, ears, touch, sensation, life force, especially my power of speech. Let me offer my humble obeisances to you. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the book, but Dhruva Maharaj could very easily understand the difference between his condition before and after attaining spiritual realization and seeing the Supreme Personality of God in face to face. He could understand his life force and activities had been sleeping. Unless one comes to the spiritual platform, his bodily limbs, mind, and other facilities within the body are understood to be sleeping. Unless one is spiritually situated, all his activities are taken as dead man's activities or ghostly activities. Why ghostly activities? Because they cannot be constructive and beneficial to anyone. Prahlad Maharaj says that a person is not a devotee even though he is a Brahmana, following all 12 Brahmanic principles, but he is not a devotee of the Lord. He cannot even save himself or to save saving the world. So that is why such a man's activities are called as ghostly activities. At best, they can only create terror and horror in people's lives. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur has composed a song in which he addresses himself, "Oh, living entity, get up. How long shall you sleep in the lap of time? Now you have the opportunity possessing a human form of body. Now try to get up and realize yourself." The Vedas also declare, get up, get up. You have the opportunity, the boon of human form of life. Now realize yourself. These are the Vedic. So Dhruv Maharaj actually experienced that upon the enlightenment of his senses on the spiritual platform, he could understand the essence of the Vedic instruction. That the Supreme Godhead is a Supreme Person. He is not impersonal. Dhruv Maharaj could immediately understand this fact. He was aware that for a very long time he was practically sleeping, and he felt the impetus to glorify the Lord according to the Vedic conclusion. A mundane person cannot offer any prayer or glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he has no realization of the Vedic conclusion. Therefore, when Dhruv Maharaj found the difference within himself, he could immediately understand it was because of the causeless mercy of the Lord. He offered obeisances to the Lord with great respect and reverence, completely understanding that the Lord's favor was upon him. The spiritual enlivenment of Dhruva Maharaj's senses and mind was due to the action of the internal potency of the Lord. In this verse, therefore, the word Swadhamna means by spiritual energy. Spiritual enlightenment is possible by the mercy of the spiritual energy of the Lord. Hare. This spiritual energy acts when a living entity fully surrenders and accepts his position as an eternal servitor. When a person places himself at the disposal or order of the Supreme Lord, that is called Seva Mukha. At that time, the spiritual energy gradually reveals the Lord to him. Without revelation of the spiritual energy, one is unable to offer prayers glorifying the Lord. Any amount of philosophical speculation or poetic expression by mundane persons is still considered to be the action and reaction of material energy. When one is actually enlivened by the spiritual energy, all his senses become purified, and he engages only in the service of the Lord. At that time, his hands, legs, ears, tongue, mind, genitals, everything engage in the service of the Lord. Such an enlightened devotee no longer has any material activities, nor has he any interest in being materially engaged. The process of purifying the senses and engaging them in the service of the Lord is known as bhakti or devotional service. In the beginning, the senses are engaged in the direction of the spiritual master in the Shastras. And after realization, when the same senses are purified, the engagement continues. The difference is that in the beginning, the senses are engaged in spiritual in a mechanical way, but after realization, they are engaged in spiritual energy. So all one senses becomes enlivened. That is a point being explained here very beautifully by Dhruva Maharaj. Actually, a devotee becomes very, very beautiful. Actually, devotee becomes very, very beautiful. Therefore, in the Bhagavatam also it is explained, materialistic people are like crows. They're very ugly. Not only they're ugly, their heart and minds are also very ugly. Uh, they're like crows. And all they can do is simply harp on the rejected garbage and refuse the rejected garbage and refuse of sensuous topics, criticisms, bad qualities, and so on. They're like crows. So their minds and hearts are polluted, their plans are polluted, their actions are polluted. And such people only increase the dirt of this world. It's like a dirty person, he, uh, he he contaminates others. It's like an infectious person with infectious disease. Such a person contaminates others also in dirty consciousness. Like many children in their childhood, they get sexually abused and then they'll end up becoming abusers when they become old. Many, so because they're sexually abused by their some relatives, somebody in their childhood, and they develop the same traits as a result. So one nasty person contaminates and infects so many others. These are pros. But Bhagavatam explains, as a person becomes a devotee of the Lord, such a person becomes like a swan. The swans try to live in crystal clear water lakes. So the temple of the Lord, the Satam Prasangat, is like this crystal clear water lakes where there is fragrance of Krishna consciousness, where there is where everything is so fresh, the freshness of Krishna consciousness, and all is due to Krishna consciousness. So that is like swans. So the process of becoming a devotee or a serious devotee is the process of getting transformed from crow-like mentality to a swan-like mentality. In this material world, all signals are all mixed. There is positive also, and there is negative also. So a swan can discriminate because if there is milk and water, a swan can extract only milk and leave the water, leave the dilution. That is a swan. So devotee becomes like a swan, discriminates, and takes the Krishna conscious element, the positive element in everything and in any situation, in any person. Therefore, a devotee is most beautiful and most spectacular. Even Kulashekar Maharaj in his prayer speaks about this. Kulashekar Maharaj is praying that the devotees, the Vaishnavas, they are so beautiful. He said, I just want to offer obeisance to them. I want to bow down to Vaishnavas. I want to glorify them. I want to hear about their glories. I want to see the dedication. And I, with my hands, I want to touch their bodies, and get spiritualized in that way. And I want to serve them. So Kulashekar Maharaj is speaking about that. The very process of bhakti is the process of cleansing. And cleansing is like a very welcome phenomenon. very refreshing phenomena. All the dirt, all the uh, uh, all the contaminations, all the bad secretions, everything. So the cleansing is a very nice phenomenon. Cleansing is a very nice phenomenon. So that is why, even for good health and hygiene, it is said one should take a bath at least 2 times or 3 times a day. Uh, so, Rajat has explained, one takes a bath, one becomes very fresh, one becomes energized. Even on a fasting day, one will be feeling very tired. It is 4 p.m., 5 p.m., I'm feeling very exhausted. It's fasting. It's fasting till midnight, fasting till the next day morning. But one goes, takes a bath, immediately one gets energized. So the and it purifies not only the body but the mind also. In a similar way, the 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 descriptions of the glories of the Supreme Lord are also considered as that sacred water which can cleanse. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, therefore Srila Prabhupada, Sripad Shankaracharya explains that everyday reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita is also like taking a bath. He's recommending every day take a bath by reading this message of the Gita Amritam. You read this message of Gita Amritam that is like every day taking bath. And he's saying that that whatever malinata is there in the hridaya, that becomes moshanam, you know? It becomes cleansed every day. So simply by uh, absorbing oneself in the holy glories of the Lord, one can become enlightened. So therefore, uh, as a devotee and sadhaka, one should be very much focused on absorbing oneself in the glories of the Supreme. We speak, especially when the glories of the Supreme Lord are discussed in the association of the devotees. Everyone is very powerfully enlivened. That is a very setting of that aspect is a very setting of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you see in Srimad Bhagavatam, the sages in the Naimisharanya have a great amount of concern for the degraded age of this world, the degraded age of this world, the fallen condition of the people. And out of their great concern for this, for the people, the sages in Naimisharanya, they had sat for the sages in Naimisharanya, because of a great concern, they sat for 100 years, 1,000 years, no, a long time sacrifice. It is explained a sacrifice uh, for a long time. They sat for the sacrifice, and that sacrifice then, uh, uh, Suta Goswami appears, and then they start discussing, and there is a pertinent question of Srimad Bhagavatam. They are asking that how will the people of this world benefit? How will the people of this world benefit? In answer to that, Sutta Goswami is explaining that people of this world benefit when they understand. What is the goal of life? When they understand how to conquer death, what is the most important duty before one dies? And then he starts quoting Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit Maharaj questions what is the duty for dying man? What is when Lord Krishna is not personally present and Lord Krishna's incarnations are not personally present and there's darkness all around, how will this darkness be dissipated? Who's going to dissipate this darkness? This darkness dissipated by Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you understand, these sages had a great concern for humanity. Because of this great concern for humanity, they had sat down for a yajna. And then they realized that the best thing to do is to churn the glories of the Supreme Lord. And when they started churning the glories of the Supreme Lord, which manifested in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see these very glories are so potent. And they recorded, these glories were recorded for all times to come. Anyone who gets to interface or who gets to hear, speak, understand, think about these divine glories of the Lord, such a person can be immediately enlivened. Such a person can be immediately enlivened. So this is the uh, this yajna of glorifying the Supreme Lord. Is so powerful that it can immediately enliven, and people become just like in Halloween, people make portraits of so many ghostly and demonic kind of candidates, and some people dress also like that and all. It is so ghastly and ghostly. Actually, materialistic people are like when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one becomes a Vaikuntha man, a Vaikuntha woman. So it is so amazing to see that wonderful transformation. It is so. So these holy glories of the Lord can bring about transformation, and people actually go to parlor for beautification. Actually, the real parlor is the temple of the Lord. The glories of the Lord are being sung constantly. The real parlor is the the real parlor is the Satam Prasanga, the association of the devotees, where the association of the devotees, where the glories of the Supreme Lord are being sung. So those glories of the Supreme Lord have the power to beautify the person. The glories of the Supreme Lord. So anyone uh, interfaces those glories immediately. The person becomes very very beautiful. Immediately, heart becomes very very cleansed. Uh, uh, we many times talk about this episode of uh, Holiness Indradumna Maharaj Poland festival when uh, uh, when they were organizing this Poland festival and these gangsters had come. At one of the places, these gangsters had come and beat up the devotees and they had to run for their lives. It was so after that, I think that was Thomas. They were it was the last day of the festival. These gangsters had created a lot of damage, and they had brought tear gas and they had brought chains and baseball bats and so on, rods. And the devotees were very fearful, but they continued their travel. No, they had planned multiple places, so they went to another place in Lord's. They were peacefully able to have the festival. Again, they were coming to a third place, and there were rumors, and they were getting premonition that there is going to be a problem. But still, the devotees had courage, and they still put up the festival, and thousands of people with them. So, and these 20 gangsters had come. So these 20 gangsters had come and all that, and the devotees. where the kirtans were going on, and the devotees started kirtans even more intensely, praying to the Lord. So the kirtans were going on and on and on, and the devotees were just not all the devotees were aware that these youngsters had come. Some of them were just absorbed singing. Only few were aware, but they did not tell anyone else, and they themselves were playing also. So the kirtans were going on and on and on, and these gangsters they changed their mind. They started dancing to Hare Krishna tunes with their started tapping their gumboots, and then they started waving their chains and baseball bats, and they participated in the kirtan. They went back to Prasad and they didn't came to take Prasad. They had not come to take Prasad. Already they had beaten up the devotees. Some devotees were hospitalized. Also. The remaining ones were conducting further festivals. They had not come to take Prasad. So Indradanda Maharaj writes this article in BTG, and we speak about it in Surat Camp, right? It's Sankalpa Camp. So you see how even such a nasty person becomes beautiful immediately. Immediately. A process of cleansing, process of beautification. So I'm also remembering. So therefore, Prabhupada went everywhere. And one time, devotees took Prabhupada to an assembly event. This event was for people who were following nudity, no clothing. And there was a full hall filled with all these kinds of candidates. Very nasty. Prabhupada was not knowing where he had landed. So where devotees have brought him, and that was the thing. And Prabhupada closed his eyes, and Prabhupada was just chanting kirtans. And Prabhupada finished the kirtans. Prabhupada simply walked out. You know, uh, uh, and some one or two people were following Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada looked at them. Prabhupada said, "Why don't you wear some clothes?" You know, and they became devotees. You see the point? They became devotees. And I remember it was in 2007, I think. I was in Bombay. Sunday Feast Festival. Gauranga was giving Sunday Feast morning class, Sunday Bhagwata class, and one of those devotees was there. She Papa decided, 40 years participation. Papa delivered him in that nudity festival. So you see how everyone in the process of Krishna consciousness, that's proper mercy. That's Krishna's mercy. That how a person, even in the most nasty rungs of life, can be delivered. And that is the power of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, you have to take Krishna consciousness everywhere without fear. Because Krishna consciousness can transform and make nasty personalities into beautiful swan like beautiful swan like Vaikuntha candidates. So that's the point. It makes them beautiful swan like Vaikuntha candidates. Let's stop here for today. Rantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai.